Okay, it's time to start. Thank you for attending today's webinar. Today, we are going to talk about Agentic AI financial knowledge orchestration. So, I'll be share in the slide mode first. Okay, so we are going to touch upon four big agenda. At the first, I'm going to talk about knowledge management challenge in modern financial services. And I'm going to introduce Agentic AI orchestration framework and use case ecosystem, MVP development in action, and live demos. Particularly, I already shared the very detailed white paper, and also I share my presentation slide in chat, and also like a share. So I'm not going to talk about details that I prepare. Rather, I've touched upon very important part. Particularly, I'm going to talk about use case ecosystem for detail, and then I show live demo. So first part, actually, that you are all the financial area expert. So you know about what the challenges in current financial service practice. So I'm going to just briefly touch upon just to summarize why we need this kind of like agentic AI framework. And I know that I know you know that the financial sectors are very tech savvy and a lot of the initiation or the commercial product exists based on AI. But even with that, actually, I'm also the expert in this field, and then I observed for a long time. So still, we need some more better way to handle this financial knowledge. So that's why it motivated me to introduce this new framework. So yeah, as you know that the finance is kind of like the data is is kind of like a data science region. So a lot of data is involved, and then you want to get insight from the data, right? So that's everybody know about. But the situation is to that the surrounding the financial area is very complex and huge amount of data and additionally speed of the interpreting data is a key. So this is why that the unbalance between the data velocity and then how we can get insight from data. So basically you have a data, a lot of information does not mean that you have an intelligence. So So real constraint is not access data, but ability to turn into timely, actionable intelligence. So here is maybe it's a siloed platform across the enterprise, even not considered outside of the data source, even your internal kind of like enterprise-wide data source, they are not fully integrated and ready to utilize, and then integrate the intelligence to get the insight right away, right? So there is a silos platform, and also like a lot of the like commercial product available to supporting this kind of like a data analysis and data management, but still they are not fully integrated. So a fragmentation is directly related to inefficiency, inconsistency. In like as a whole, that they lost institutional intelligence. So and then a lot of the work actually, even with a lot of the AI tools available, but most of the financial area is heavily depend on the expert in a like a manual way. So that's why that there was something that the human cognition became a throughput limiter for institutional intelligence. And so the institution knowingly accept hidden risk and missed opportunity because of this manual dependency. So also like a financial area is heavily regulated area. So I'm currently focused on two heavily regulated. One is healthcare and the other is a financial area. So I found that I'm working in both sides. They're very similar. So, so regularity, ESG compliance is a complexity. And so compliance should be a continuous way that, that you kind of like a compliance intelligence to be continuously monitoring and complying. So that means that kind of like updated kind of like compliance is uneven across business lines. So the create the policy drift, audit explosion, and operation risk. And then even the institutional memory loss means that the expert lack in individuals. So the most of the financial sectors are knowledge base, but also heavily depend on individuals' knowledge and expertise. So that's the one actually that you have even if you have the a lot of the professional individual with expertise, they are not integrated for the enterprise-wide. So once people leave or rotate roles and knowledge disappear with them. So competitive advantage is still it depend on the personal how you manage personal knowledge and how to integrate. So that I mentioned that even if there are a lot of the tools that are available, for example, that a few years ago I very focused on in they call ESG and sustainability investment side, and then I have an opportunity to kind of engage with kind of like AI development for the ESG management, ESG related investment, something like that. And then based on my previous experience and compare with today's AI, it's a completely different level. So most of the commercial tools are developed under the what I call like a pre-large language model, particularly ChatGPT type of the intelligence. So they are not agentic. That means they are static, and they just follow the rules that are usually the machine learning, deep learning based. So they have something that missing that require that in the current situation of the financial sectors. So that's why that I'm thinking about new framework. So I'm not going to talk about detail, but because there are a lot of the kind of literature or the books or the article available. So but I'm very interested in that that I heavily apply this scheme in all different type of innovation, particularly in healthcare and other area. So that one of the beauty of agentic AI is they call orchestration. It is something missing in the traditional AI. So so why I mean by the orchestration is usually that orchestration is kind of a strong point is kind of like that kind of like a teamwork, right? Collaborate work, right? So so they are not single mode AI. So agentic AI is composed of multiple specialized agent, and then each engage performs a defined qualitative law. And so the intelligence emerges from collaboration, not isolated, but it's one of the strong points that utilizing agentic AI. And but they are autonomous, but so autonomous is different from automation, right? Autonomous is a somewhat different area that they can be like a self kind of like learning and then iteration, something like the reasoning, not just a simple automation based on like a static rule, but they're under governance reasoning. is very, very important. So there was a one concept is human in love, and also like I'm prefer to talk about the human co-pilot. So agent to monitor environment continuously. Actions are constrained by regulatory policy and fiduciary rules. So autonomy kind of like they should be under governance reasoning. So in the financial relevance of the agentic AI, that agentic AI transform finance from reactive analysis, proactive financial reasoning. So most important point is they augment human judgment rather than replacing financial professionals. So that's what I think about the agentic AI is a strong point is to their co-filer with financial professionals. So in they kind of like naturally transform this financial professionals as AI native financial professionals, right? So I think that the I have also like changes my focus topic every year. So that this year's I think about this year's of the like kind of like a drastic acceleration of innovation in and adoption in agentic AI. And then next year will be continue, but actually there will be the term actually a lot of people use is to be AI native business, AI native professionals, AI native kind of like industry. And then the key enabler is identity AI that I think about. So identity AI is as working as a financial cognitive layer. So function as a continuous learning financial intelligence system and integrate structured and unstructured financial data at scale and reasons across time, asset classes, and regulatory domains, and preserve institutional knowledge beyond the individual contributors, and support decision making and machine speed with human oversight. So this is basic, the six core function. Actually, this is universally applied to any industry and any field. So that perceive, reason, remember, use to act, govern is a six core element that you can utilize. So I also developed my demo and then also that whatever that based on your like the challenging problem you want to do utilizing this kind of like a knowledge orchestration that I use this six component and then utilizing in even the MVP, there was a supporting infrastructure and other layers, but actually the database on the six layers. So I just provide the detail one, but I'm not going to detail, but you can look at later. So it can be changing depending on the application. So this is for the in financial sectors specific kind of like terms use. So why agentic AI matters? That market monitor continuously, not periodically, and the risk anticipate, not discover after the fact, and compliance embedded, not retrofitted, and institutional knowledge preserve and amplify. So intelligence become explainable, auditable, and trusted. Okay, so I go over that because I just choose only few that there are 100 the use case ecosystem depending on your practice, depending on your service. So here is some representative example that how agentic AI can be utilizing in the financial knowledge management, the orchestration in some specific cases. So first one is investment research intelligence. So, so for example, this is a scenario base. So, a global asset management firm, the covering 3,000 plus public companies across equity, credit, multi-asset strategies struggle to scale research without increasing headcount. So each analyst team maintain its own model nodes research workflow across disparate systems, market data terminals, share drives, spreads, and emails, and more. Right? So as a result, that research knowledge was fragmented and personal dependence, and analysts repeatedly reread filings and transcript already reviewed elsewhere, and cross-sector and cross-time insight were difficult to surface, and coverage expansion was constrained by human bandwidth, and institutional memory was lost when analysts rotate or depart. So despite abundant data, institution-wide financial intelligence remains siloed and slow. So actually, this is an actual use case that my business partner actually they built up. Uh, actually, they developed MVP for this institution in their asset management firm to actually they prove that it's working. So the solution is using Agentic AI. So, for example, the system is connected all filings, earnings, transcript, analyst node, model, and broker research into semantic research memory and applied retrieval augmented reasoning, they call it lag, to ensure every insight was grounded in verified financial evidence. And then enable multi-hop reasoning across companies and sectors, time horizon, and preserve analyst reasoning, decision outcome as institutional knowledge, and deliver example, excitation rings, so something like this. So the research shift from document search to continuous evidence-based financial reasonings. I'm going to show some of the POC demo of this because of the internal improvement I cannot reveal, but I can show some demo so you can feel that what is meant by this. Okay, so what's outcome? So it can like 4 or 6 times expansion in research coverage without increasing analyst head count and 60 to 80% reduction in time spent reviewing filings and transcripts. So here is a very definite kind of like outcomes you measure quantitatively. That's the one of the beauty of this orchestration framework. Once you implement and measure the quantitatively performance, you will measure the like right away benefit. So faster the thesis formation with higher evidence density and consistency, and reduce key person risk through the persistent institutional research memory. So improve the collaboration across the sectors via shared exploration insight and higher analyst certification, something like this. So as I mentioned, that it's very depend on the scenario base, what your practice group is, and what your like kind of bottleneck overcoming issues, something like that, right? And what's your goal? So this is just the example, right? So actually, what I want is to hear from you, you are the expert in this field, and what is your typical scenario that you want to resolve or what you want to do and like a better way to provide your service and practice, right? And then we have a group the like a expert to have this kind of work in 1,000 times, so we can have for that. And this is another one. So this is also another scenario that the previous one is asset management firm because the financial side is so diverse, right? So we can end to end kind of like all different type of the service you can think about. But this is one example is a family office. So they are limited partners for particularly through the venture capital, the private equity or other things that they are directly invest. So for this scenario, that is a single family office managing about the 4 billion across public market, private equity, real asset, and alternative strategy they face growing difficulty in maintaining alignment between long-term family investment intent and day-to-day portfolio behavior. So it's starting from the solution, then and the design, what kind of solution, then you can have it with the agentic AI. So for example, that the investment committee set high-level objective, capital preparation, controlled growth, liquidity readiness, and tax efficiency and downside protection. So they have a list of the like challenges they want to resolve. So this kind of challenges is in a design stage at the how to address or resolve these challenges utilizing agentic AI function. And so, for example, that here that we provide a solution that using agentic AI that family office portfolio intelligence co-filer. So, for example, that it unified the public, private, or autonomous asset data into a single portfolio intelligence layer and continuously monitor factor drift across rate, inflation, duration, and other thing. So, and then they perform the scenario-based stress testing for family relevant risk. So you have a stress test for the risk kind of like management. So it portfolio oversight shift from periodic reporting to continuous intense alliance. So for example, that what can the outcome and the measurable thing quantifiable. So a continuous alignment between family objective and portfolio exposures and early detection of a factor and liquidity drift and reducing like a drawdown risk and then faster scenario analysis and improved decision confidence and stronger governance. So it enhances multi-generational continuity, preserve investment logic across leadership transitions. So family office transformed the portfolio management into a living adaptive resources system, something like that. And so it's depending on the year. So here is a one example is like your wealth management firm that, and then actually they're serving like a 15,000 more like a high net worth and ultra high net worth client and stroke to deliver deeply personalized advice. So it's kind of so advisement is encouraging complex client profiles, multi-account portfolio, tax consideration, ESG preferences, estate object, liquidity need, and life event planning. So they have this kind of like challenges. So the design to address so the agentic AI to unify client goal, portfolio, tax profile, ESG preference, and risk tolerance into single intelligence layer and apply different type of the kind of like a resolution to handle these challenges. So advisory workflow shifted from manual calculation to relationship-centered intelligence delivery. So result is a significant reduction in time spent preparing client recommendation. And so Well's advice evolved into a repeatable, trusted, and deeply personal client intelligence system. Another maybe the kind of like hedge fund type. So in a hedge fund is risk management and liquidity management is very important. So it's kind of like a global multi-strat hedge fund and then it kind of like despite certificate risk tooling, so the firm relied heavily on end of day and period risk report that could not keep pace with the in like intraday very speed of like market dynamics as volatility increased. I think that in this relate is that actually the I'm working is this side. The Quanta Fund, actually, I am a strategy business partner for this, and then particularly I'm working as representing for the East Asia business for this. So this is very innovative idea that developed by the Harvard graduate, MIT graduate. And then I feel that this is very kind of like a innovative business model that kind of like the address the traditional crypto kind of like investment side, right? Because there were a lot of the, you know, that in the Web3 and crypto side, there are a lot of the things. I have a particularly that I have additionally have expertise in Web3 and kind of like institutional kind of like a tokenization matter that I published a white paper and I gave a talk and I'm going to think about another talk. But I find that among the a lot of business model experience, I like this one. So that's why then I joined. And the new generation of global investors to access to hedge fund level strategy without the traditional barrier of finance. So, it kind of like for example, one of the beauty is to be like a retail investors access to like a highly sophisticated kind of like this kind of like the the investment vehicle, right? So the traditionally kind of like if you want to invest in the hedge fund, you should be a credit investor, and the minimum amount you can invest is a very, very high amount. But this is one, for example, is just one $10 kind of like a minimum. So it can be fitting into like even you are the retail investor, you can invest. And there are other kind of like, for example, that if you are in the Web3 investment side, you will know about it. If you're not, then just think about it's alternative or traditional like a hedge fund investment. But it utilizing Web3 blockchain technology provide transparency and all the like advantages, and then removing the previous kind of like some issue, like comply with the legal matters, like for example, there was a lot of the still there is a debate going on. Is I'm not sure you know about lethal kind of like SEC for litigation type, that whether you need to like obligate to like SEC comply as a like stock or whatever, right? Or it can be like out of that traditional regulation regimes. So there are a lot of the noise is going on this side, but I like this model is they try to avoid that kind of like a noise. So so it look at the market like the platform that could combine institutional grade quant strategy and full transparency and scalable investor access without compromising user control. So this solution is kind of like the can built as a next generation on-chain hedge fund platform and merging they call decentralized finance infrastructure, quantum finance, and agentic AI. So the platform is to deploy a non-custodial vault. And so, so usually if you have like a wallet, traditionally in the Web3 wallet, actually you don't have any kind of like control once you deposit yours. In usually they're under custody of the operating company, managing company, but this is non-custodial, so you can extract whenever you want, right? Because you are the owner, you are the control of your whatever you deposit in the vault, you invest money. So the it kind of like a full orchestration, transparent position, trade performance, and risk management. So this quantum fund can transform hedge fund investment from black box to exclusive model into transparent AI get on-chain intelligence system. Okay, so impact is the radically expand access to hedge fund grade straight for retail and global investors, and high trust and retention drive by variable on-chain performance data, and lower friction onboarding supported by integrated guidance and education, and recurring compounding revenue stream for leffers. So actually it working as someone actually the participate as a lefer, and then they bring the like investors to this platform, and then they will grow with this platform. And also like for example is it represent is a end state vision of the agentic AF financial knowledge orchestration framework. So MVP development action in life. So MVP development actually that I'm going to skim over because uh I'm not a developer basically. So I work with a developer. So for this kind of like knowledge orchestration framework that I have a partnership with the actual developer, have a lot of experience actually implementing this one in financial institution. So my role is to figure out the in what will be the challenges, and then I engage with the initial like kind of like brainstorming, also like a design. And then after that, like the fully working design, it'll be passable to my partner actually that they have a intensive experience actually built up and tested. So usually we set up this kind of like a business workflow. So I just came over. So POC and MVP and real world validation and handover scan. So if you're interested in some kind of pilot to starting small scale that you feel that this kind of like the agentic AI knowledge framework in your financial service and practice will be valuable, then just contact me. Then we can discuss about it, and then we can think about the how to like resolve your current issues, whatever, and then in the design stage. So this is a professional kind of like agentic AI tech stack actually beyond the POC actually utilizing in the like data source ingestion and our like architecture and everything actually it has already built up. So that's it. So and then the POC is my work. So I just in any kind of like scenario that I'm very interested in whether they will actually working and to see then what it mean by that this orchestration. So this is one example that you will see in a, like in live. So this is you see it in the first kind of thing that the data investment research intelligence. So in this live demo, you will see an AI-powered analytic copilot of platform institution-grade investment research in real time. So the system will unify filings, earning, transcript, model, and analytic learning into single semantic research memory and retrieve or verify the financial evidence before reasoning and perform kind of like a company-wide and sector-wide, time horizon-wise working and then generate explainable site to link in the research brief. So, okay, so I will show you that I actually implemented in my ChatGPT. So, let me see. Okay, so this is a demo that I developed using prompt engineering. So this is not like a kind of like MVP level, whatever. But I to show that the actual implementation done by our tech stack. So actually implementing any large language model from the starting, and then you need to like training them and design them, connect with the cloud and every database, everything, right? Backend, the front end system. But this is show the showcase that easily can understand what is meant by orchestration, what is meant by the knowledge, kind of like they integrate for your specific purpose. So I designed this to just showcase and just to show you that feel kind of like what I mean by that I show many different type of use cases actually you can build up. So, for this framework, that is investment research intelligence ecosystem is kind of like a real-time multi-agent orchestration system that transforms fragmented financial research into explainable evidence-grounded and institutional intelligence. So it integrate regulatory filings like SEC and global equivalent, and then earnings, transcript, and disclosures, and internal analysis node and valuation models, and broker research and macro report, and historical risk evaluation and correlated context. So it integrates all the relevance data and information, and then all information unified into semantic financial research graph. So this allowing the analyst, the PMs and CEOs to reason across data. So six agentic stages of the research co-pilot is a research scenario input, in data fusion and semantic research graphs creation, and historical research coverage and context retrieval, and lag-enhanced evidence retrieval and financial reasoning, and then explainable research brief generation, and human oversight learning and institutional memory. Okay, so step one is the research scenario input. So it based on what kind of research you want to do. So, for example, that you need to provide that the pre-described investment research scenario you want to analyze. For example, that asset classes, equity, credit, multi-asset, and companies or sectors, and time horizon, and objective risk analysis, valuation, competitive position, extra. So it gives you some example info. So our global equity team, it covers semiconductors. We want to analyze NVIDIA, AMD, and Intel to identify emerging competitive and macro risk that may impact the value over the next 12 to 24 months. Because this is based on large ranking model, so it can be communicated with you and then try to understand. That's the perceive. The power is to perceive your intention, your goal through the interaction. So usually the communication through text or the voice, whatever, the multimodal input, and then they interact with you and then try to understand. And then it kind of like it provides some example to make a showcase like select a research scenario. So option on a competitive valuation risk, equity, or sector rotation and macro spillover. Many different type that you can put in your own, right? In a custom scenario then. So it based on that it start to like based on it try to understand your intention. So just Taiwan. So it understand. So you want look at the equities of the NVIDIA, AMD, Intel, and time horizon in 12 to 24 months. And then objectively identifying emerging competitive regulatory and macro risk impacting valuation. And then it kind of like a data fusion and semantic research graph creation. So it like initiating investment research intelligence orchestration. So it have multi-agent schemes. So it like activate the relevant kind of like agent. So research intake agent is confirm scope, horizon, objective, and coverage context agent is to retrieve the prior internal research and coverage history. And governance agent infers role-based access, auditability, and confidentiality. So each agent has their specific performance. So data fusion agent is evidence collection and normalization. So it collect and fusing research material. So you're looking at the ingested sources, 9 years of SEC filing, and 42 wording call transcript, one more than 100 internal analysis note and valuation model, and other things, right? And then it process like a normalized terminology and financial ontologies and link companies, segment risk valuation driver and analyst conclusion, and embed semantic vectors for cross-time, cross-company reasoning, and preserve analysis. So, and then it process it, and then it produce semantic financing research graph construct. So, graph highlighted 9 companies, 9 reporting years unified, and other like a final entity index, and 1.8 million semantic relationship created, and a full traceable across disclosure analysis conclusion. So it gives you the whether you want to visualize semantic research graph showing how disclosure risk and then yes, no, or the you wanna go. So for example, that visualize the semantic graph. So it is semantic financial research graph is to show that a living multi-layer network graph where company disclosure, risk analysis, and valuation and drivers are all connected and time aware. So a core company node is to NVIDIA, AMD, Intel. And each company node is time expanded when it contains subnodes, for example, that the fiscal year from year 2016 to present, and earning calls by quarter and analyst coverage effort, and then disclose evidence no. So it look at all the relevance, kind of like reading from the company no, right? and each disclosure node tag with data filing risk. So for example, the Intel, the capital intensive risk node, something like NVIDIA, and various risk valuation driver node. So, and then layer four is analyst reasoning and institutional memory. So it give you, this is one of the beauty is to, they are explain everything detail for their reasoning. So you can verify that. And then everything you can see that what's involved in their analysis, right? So you can look at it at what the reasoning process, and so actually your oversight was something wrong, and then proceeds to step three. And it look at the historical research, corporate context retriever. So it look at the internal whether there is a similar research internally. So it kind of like look at the what was historically done, and then it look at the 36 prior analysis conclusion retrieve, and 14 valuation inflection point identified. And then an institutional memory signal. So without the persistent memory, approximately 41 of this reasoning would normally be lost due to any analyst turnover, right? So it preserves the original assumption, their original alternative thesis. And then it gives you like Intel's core factor risk was consistently flagged in year 2022-23, but underweighted until subsided. So it gives you the kind of like analysis reasoning. And then so compare that the historical analysis conclusion with the current disclosure. Okay, so let's just see that. This will give you that same thing, that very detailed explanation then how you get this analysis. So it individual portfolio company to look at this one. So so cross company insight is consensus drift occurred, the where risk level structured but where still modeled cyclically, so most notably for Intel. So it's explainability of traceability. So each misalignment is traceable to, like original analysis note and subsequent disclosure section, timestamp, or Type's updated confidence or something like that. So it give you like process to, it can do many other things, but to go to the next step, it give you institutional research brief. So the semiconductor competitive macro risk outlook for 12 to 24 months. And coverage is the portfolio company is in the stock market, NVIDIA, AMD, and Intel. And then give you exact summary of the outcome. So NVIDIA positioning, key strengths, primaries, value of view, AMD, and Intel, something like that. And then a comparative risk assessment. So you give you the snapshot of this investment research, and then explainability and confidence. So it give you the why system is confidence. They provide the explanation that why they get this one in a how much they are confident about that. And then if you want, and you can go to like the human oversight that you wanna do something additionally, anything that you can interact with this system. So human analysis actions review risk weight and valuation sensitives, validate competitive assumption with the market color, and adjust confidence threshold where qualitative insight required and add proprietary insight. And then the beauty of this is that agentic AI is dynamic. So they learn from their function and what have done and what the outcome. So it give you it prepare for the next like research. It will be the experience from this research. It produce a better way. So demo completed. So it give you the like quantify of the what you have benefit from this. So research driver speed and duplicate coverage and analyst coverage capacity and knowledge retention and research consistency. So final demo summary that the simulation demonstrates how the AI-powered investment research intelligence ecosystem transform fragment analysis dependent workflow into a unified external and continuously learning research platform. So I can show many things, but anyway, this is a snapshot that what is meant by the knowledge orchestration, what can you can do, and what kind of things that you can have a benefit of this one. Okay. Okay, so that's it. So so what I want is because I'm not a like everyday working in the financial sectors, like I understand what the financial knowledge and I have like I have a business relations with the quantum fund and other things. But as you know, the agentic AI that I tried is like I call like AI enabled professionals by the sort of Copilot. Usually, what I built up is to you can see the individual expertise, right? Agent is individual expertise co-filer. So they are kind of like a AI twin of the professional expert, right? So the build up, the each individual is a team member as a kind of like their co-filer, their identity twin. And then they will collaborate the professional and then they are team up, right? Agentic AI team up and a professional team up, right? 'Cause that's a kind of like ecosystem that collaborate way. That's I really wanna do. So I really want from your half that you are the kind of like the expert in this field. Then I need some info scenario that what kind of challenges and then think about like what is the design, why, and how can be implemented, what can be like a kind of like a self-learning, can be feedback, many things, right? So that's one I motivate this webinar. So any comment or whatever you want to share that you can do. Drew, do you have anything, comment or anything you want to share? Anything? You just share anything you want to do, right? Because I really want is to what you're actually your fear, right, in the financial sectors and then if you feel there's some kind of like the usefulness of this approach. Okay, so the my next topic actually another thing recently that I'm interested in agentic AI framework to apply to in the financial area. So additional thing that I'm thinking about is to more extended work through this quantum fund. And also what I'm thinking about is because this end years of my last webinar is topic is the quantum computing with agentic AI. So the motivation is to recently there was even still have a limitation but the quantum computing is in a like the tipping point actually that they started to produce real life service still in the cloud base and then some pilot phase and IBM and then Amazon Web Service and even Google and Microsoft all the cloud computing platform and then even NVIDIA like providing quantum computing infrastructure at the current state of art and then and then I tried to find out how they can be integrated AI and particularly agentic AI framework, and then how actually they can be. changes things, the current review, and then my target area of currently in healthcare and life sciences that I have, and I have a fantastic result for my own. So I actually the submit actually after my PhD, I was in industry for 30 years. So that the only that the final my journal publication is to through my PhD work. And then for 30 years, actually, I had never chance to, maybe some few cases submit, but for a long time, I didn't have any chance to submit for some kind of like academic type research paper. But the quantum computing integrated identity is I found a very, very interesting topic that I can contribute. So I recently actually do some research and develop some POC utilizing agentic powered quantum computing for the new drug discovery and submit to one. Another topic that I'm interested in is finance, because I think that there will be another way. So this kind of like a knowledge orchestration of financial knowledge plus quantum computing infrastructure will be completely game changer, I think. So my next one will be topic with that. Anyway, so if you don't have anything to share, then I will post this presentation with the recording in my LinkedIn site. So if you want, you can look at it. And then if you have anything that you want to discuss later about your like a financial sector practice and then the things actually that you want to collaborate with me as a pilot, and then I welcome anything from you. Okay. Okay, so thank you for attending today's webinar and hope to see you in my next webinar, hopefully. Okay. Thank you. Take care. Bye bye.